are there training splits that are better than others? Well, that's what the question was. Do you think there are?
I do.
Mm-hmm. What's your...
Let's go from I don't even want to say like what I'm trying to do with my own communication is start saying strength as a general strength practice, not default to powerlifting.
Yeah.
If your goal is performance and that performance outcome is strength, yes. I think there is splits that are...
Is there like one that would come to mind, like comparatively to another, or...
Either like some kind of upper-lower variation.
Yep.
Or like I also really like anterior-posterior. But I would default as to saying high frequency, in my experience, is far superior than lower frequency for strength and performance outcomes.
Is that for every athlete though, or would that be better for a beginner and an intermediate, and then an advanced athlete you would consider?
The only time it would not work, even then.
Because if you're like the only pushback I have on that is if you were like fuck off strong.
Yeah, so if I'm programming
do
for
you
Anthony
undulate
Krusner,
the intensity but the frequency stays, or do you just go, all right, Anthony, you can deadlift 400 kilos once a fortnight? You know what I mean?
And then still RDL in 2 days.
Yeah.
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 I think it would be a matter of managing intensities.
You see, so you're just bringing one up, pulling one down.
Because it almost... Because my thing, right, is like, if you've ever done a top set triple and 4 back off 5s, and then trained legs, you didn't fucking train legs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as wild. I'm actually trying it with the girls right now, so I may be proven totally wrong because I've got a lot of feedback on it. But they still have more hamstring work on a squat day, more quad work on a hamstring day.
Yeah.
Because the primary lift is going to take away from the performance later on in the session.
Yeah.
So we still have a bit of a spread of stuff over the week, and then the 4th day is actually kind of full body.
Okay.
So, beginner, you're doing it for skill. More exposures to
more
the
time
movement,
you do something, the better you get.
The better you get at it.
Yeah.
Intermediate into advanced, you're doing it because what I see is total output over the week is better if you move shit along the week.
Yeah.
It takes... My first intro block for intermediates that are coming on board is disgusting. Like, it's savage. After that, if they can get through it, if they all do, once they get through it, they're conditioned enough to handle it.
Yeah.
They can squat on day 1 and then leg press day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's just built in, which is weird. Beginners, skill-based, intermediates, more just like how much load can I move over the week with given the amount of sets and time that I have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
So, that's where I sit with it. I don't know from a hypertrophy standpoint. I think your frequency then would more just pull back into being able to get enough volume in.
Yeah, I think it heavily influences that. I don't think there's a major split. Like, the more you coach and the more you look into it, like when you're younger, you kind of think like there's a split out there that you're missing out on, and like that's where most of the gains are.
Yeah. And
then you go, well, when did I make the best progress? It's like you just found a split that worked with your schedule and your lifestyle at the time, and you're willing to work hard. Like, there's
and that you can put effort into.
Agreed. And there's way more important things. Like, I feel like people worry about that first before they worry about other things. It's like, worry about training efficiently, so work on your technique. Worry about training hard.
Yeah.
Worry about what you're doing outside of the gym. So nail your diet. You'll get way more progress with any program.
Yeah.
Doing those 3 things first, and obviously progressively overloading. Your whatever program that is.
Yeah.
Those things will serve you better than always second guessing if this training split is the best for you.
Yeah. And what stuck with me when we had the frequency versus bro split.
Yeah.
Banter at the time. What stuck with me was you're kind of I'd rather just destroy my legs in a day and that be it.
Yeah.
And that I was that is 100% a valid personality trait / preference with training that I'm that makes
it's what's better
total sense.
And that's providing they can do that. And then, because it's like, well, I kind of mentioned that when I knew I had more exposures, I wouldn't train as hard on the first day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, which one's better?
Yeah.
You know, and then more technically, to answer that question, the training split, in my opinion, is based on what you're working on.
Yeah.
So if the person has a phase where we're trying to bring up the upper body, there's more upper body workouts. And that's usually, for a female, because they don't really specifically want like one muscle, or it's lower body mainly. So there's going to be more lower body movements. So then the volume is going to be relatively higher. So then you have to spread that volume out over the week. So they're going to have more lower body sessions than they are upper body sessions. You could argue they might have like a mix.
Yeah.
So you could do like upper, lower, and then like maybe
Full
like
body.
legs and back and delts. That's
Yeah.
a really common, one for like someone who's like a bikini athlete or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a more male orientated example, it would be the same concept, but it's like more specific to a muscle group or muscle group. So it's like, well, trying to bring up your back. It's like, cool, there's 2 exposures for the back per week. Everything else is 1. Or you might go with a more high frequency system. I don't know if that works as great if the person's training to failure. I don't think a high frequency system works because they don't have enough time to recover to sufficiently be able to train that muscle again. So 2 exposures makes more sense to me, but 2 to 3. And then you're still managing the training volume though. So you're not doing the same amount of volume for all of those sessions across the week.
Yeah.
The first session you might do like 6 to 8. The next one you might do 4. And then the last session you might only do like, 2 sets or something.
Yeah, it's hard when you get into strength as well, because like we metric fatigue based on movements as well. So like a deadlift is way more fatiguing than a bench press. So 9 times out of 10 of a program I've
you bench press like every day
has 3, sometimes 4 presses in it.
It's also like
it's got 1.
It's also the one that you have the least amount of wiggle room on. So then you're like, well, the more you press, the better you'll get at pressing. So then you won't fuck it up.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. You misgroove a bench, like
It's done.
there's not many people out there that can muscle it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you misgroove a deadlift or a squat, like you got a little bit more wiggle room. I mean, obviously at the top, probably not, but
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So I think, and then squat somewhere in the middle. So like squatting, like 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a third day that has like an accessory / isolation kind of thing for an exposure, but it's not. Yeah, and I think my experience in powerlifting is like the DOMS is different.
Yeah.
So like people hold back on performance when they go in when they're sore.
Yeah.
So I'm still backing that someone that hits their prime lift well would leg press better 2 days later, because they're not debilitated from soreness. Because I don't, at least me and the feedback from my clients, don't get sore from a triple.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
You get sore from an 8.
Yeah, it's not enough reps.
Yeah, so it's like, well, you're not walking in sore. Sure, you're carrying some fatigue, but you would have carried that fatigue had you done it session 1, and the mental load and fatigue is so much higher.
Yeah.
Just given the emotional arousal and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Yeah. So whoever asked this question, I think you're just worrying about things that probably don't need to worry about, possibly. As in, there's things that are more important. But the best program is the one you can follow and you can do consistently, and you can work hard and give it all you've got and still adhere to the principles of training, progressive overload, blah, blah, blah.
I think you gave it away with like, you probably found a split once that worked perfectly with your lifestyle. And
you made the most gains.
Yeah.